Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And gentlemen, thank you for your dedicated service to the nation for many, many years. The non-classified intelligence assessment, which is available to the public, concludes that, quote, Putin, his advisors, and the Russian government developed a clear preference for President-elect Trump over Secretary Clinton, close quote, in part because, quote, Putin has had many positive experiences working with Western political leaders whose business interests made them more disposed to deal with Russia, such as former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi and former German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder. Either General Clapper or Director Comey, does the community have any intelligence to suggest that President-elect Trump or those close to him may have business interests that made them more disposed to deal with Russia?
Well, the Russians just believed or came to the conclusion that because the president-elect is a businessman, that he would be easier to make deals with and than the Democrats.
Thank you. Director Clapper, at the Armed Services Committee hearing, I asked you whether, given the scope and the difficulty of hiding all the different aspects of this comprehensive campaign, was this, was first Putin advised that there was a significant chance of being discovered, and second, did he disregard that because he wanted to send a message as well as being disruptive of our process? And you deferred that response until after you had briefed the President and President-elect. Can you add anything to that?
I'm sorry, sir, in the question, would you repeat the question?
Given the multiple aspects of this campaign, the hacking, the trolling, right, the social media, the idea that this would become unnoticed, and given the scale and the intent would be unnoticed, raises one question at least. Was he in any way advised that you're taking a risk here? And second, did he disregard that risk, not only to be disruptive, but also to signal to the world that he is prepared to engage in this type of operation and send us a signal?
Well, I think, as we've seen, he, I think, always feels that, or felt that he had deniability. That, and of course, that's what the both the Russian government and the Russian media are denying any culpability. And we're somewhat restricted because of our sources and methods concerns about showing our hand, showing our deck here, so to speak, and what led us to those conclusions that we feel so strongly about. So he knows that. He's a professional intelligence officer, and he probably understands our approach to the protection of sources and methods, and so he can just deny it and get away with it.
Let me just a final point here.
If I could add, Senator.
Yes.
When this started breaking the press in early August, I had a conversation with the director of the FSB, Alexander Bortnick, and told him clearly that if Russia was doing this, they were playing with fire, and it would backfire, and they would be roundly condemned by not only the U.S. government, but also the American people. And he said he would relay that to Mr. Putin at the time. He denied any type of activity along these lines, but I made it very clear to him that basically we were on to him.
A final point. Everyone has indicated, and the report indicates, that there was an effort made against the Democratic political campaigns and Republican political campaigns, but one was much more aggressive, frankly, than the other in terms of finding ways into the servers of not only the DNC but the individual Democratic operatives. Given what you posit as the goal of Putin, which was to discredit Secretary Clinton as much as possible, assuming she might be president, or in some way disrupting her campaign, it seems to be, at least to me, logical that they would devote those kind of resources to going after Democratic computers rather than resources to Republicans. Is that borne out by your analysis, Director Clapper?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.